Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. It's Griddles here, and today's an awesome day. I'm coming to you with a not very usual video. I never make videos bragging about other countries being quote-unquote better than mine, but I will tell you, after playing the Age of Empires 4 story mode a little bit, the history of England is so fascinating. Like, seeing the renditions of how the history went, of how they were created through time and whatnot, and even seeing the real live buildings with animated versions of the medieval soldiers in the positions that they would have been in and stuff like that is so fascinating. We don't have that in America because we are a newer country. We were founded when guns were a thing, but back whenever swords and shields and arrows, and it's just so fascinating to see how built up that country has become because of its rich history. I'm just gonna put the rest of the clips that I took from what I've played so far, and it's so fascinating to hear about. So just enjoy the footage from this game. Even if you don't play these types of games, you would never see this type of content. And I think the bad part about that is this is the kind of stuff they should show in school because it's entertaining. It's actually entertaining. It's not a book that you read. I mean, let's see. So the history books would have you say, read 3 paragraphs of this book about the battle of such and such. Whenever they make games like this needs to be shown in schools. Kids would be so much smarter than we were when we were kids. Because we read it and then forgot it. We didn't give a crap. But you watch this kind of stuff and you just go, oh my god, England has such rich history. We read about it, but never really stayed in your mind, you know? So just enjoy the footage.
At the Battle of Hastings, the death of one man changed the course of history. The Anglo-Saxon King Harold was killed here, on England's south coast. His army defeated by William of Normandy. Anglo-Saxon rule was over forever. At Westminster Abbey on Christmas Day 1066, William was crowned the first Norman King of England. Now he had to secure power across the country. He began by stamping his mark on the landscape, building cathedrals and castles at strategic locations. Nothing like them had been seen in England before. They reminded the Anglo-Saxon population exactly who was in charge. But not all were content with living under Norman rule. Anglo-Saxon revolts broke out across the country. King William acted quickly to crush these rebellions. But there was one region where dissent was spiraling out of control: the north of England. In 1069, a group of lords from Northumbria formed an alliance with Viking invaders. Together, they approached Norman-held York, a large city with an important cathedral, still protected by ancient Roman walls. But the walls couldn't save York. The city and the castle fell to the rebels. William's new kingdom was under threat. He had to get the city back under Norman control. William had no choice but to order his men north. But as the Norman forces set off on their long march towards York, how much resistance from the rebels would they encounter? William the Conqueror had recaptured York from the rebels. Now he wanted to teach them a lesson for defying him. He began a brutal campaign of destruction to crush any further resistance. known as the Harrying of the North. Villages and crops were destroyed. It is said 100,000 people were killed. With ruthless efficiency, William the Conqueror had secured obedience in his new kingdom. But it wasn't to last. It would be thrown into chaos by his own children. When William the Conqueror died in 1087, his favorite son succeeded him. King William II, known as William Rufus. But 13 years into his reign, disaster struck. While out hunting, he was killed. William's youngest brother took his place as King Henry I. But there was a problem. At the time, Henry's elder brother, Robert, Duke of Normandy, had been on crusade. When he returned, he was furious that Henry had grabbed the throne. From Normandy, Robert attempted to invade England to claim the crown from his brother. But he failed and returned home. In retaliation, Henry struck back. In a reversal of 1066, he crossed the Channel and invaded Normandy, intent on undermining his brother Robert's rule. His first target was Bayeux. This rich and splendid city was one of the jewels of Normandy. Henry was to begin his campaign by unleashing his forces on the city. Bayeux was about to feel the wrath of the English army.